It's time for fantasy.
Number 34 on the offense is on my fantasy team. So, touchdown.
Versus reality.
Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
With Levack and Goz on 104.5 The Team.
It is a fantasy for me today as we are mere feet from a craft beer garden. Goz, come on.
Yes.
Fantasy wins out. For once. Fantasy versus reality, of course, you pick 3 fantasy plays that will do better than their score as they are predicted by ESPN. Standard scoring or PPR?
PPR scoring.
PPR scoring. I will give you 3 plays that you should call on any friend you have who lives in the Las Vegas area that will just make them straight cash homie. I am 10-14 after a 2-1 week.
Hey, 2-1's pretty good. I went 1-2. I'm now at 10-13-1. That a half-point margin keeps me a tie and a half-game lead over Levack.
Well, I am about to take you down, clown. Dilly. That is right. I'm about to take you down, clown, because here we go. I'm going first because I had the better week. I'm going to start with something that's not going to make me very popular around my friends, and that is telling you that the Los Angeles Rams are on a up curve and the New York Giants are on a down curve. So when the New York Giants host the Los Angeles Rams, I don't even think it's going to be pretty. Ben McAdoo seems to have lost this team. He's suspending Jack Rabbit, who used to play for the Rams and would be highly motivated to play well against them and their passing attack. Rams are good in the air. They're good on the ground. Giants don't really seem to be good anywhere. I do have good news for Giants fans, though.
What is that?
They will have a really high pick to pick up Eli's replacement. I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams. I'm going to lay the 3.5 points. I'm going to lay the 3.5 points. Give me the Rams for my first play in fantasy versus reality.
3.5 points. That's a dangerous number. The hook right there, the 3.5. That didn't scare you off the half?
Hooks don't scare me.
Hooks scare me sometimes. I'm going to go with the quarterback position here to start things off. Remember, we're going to get over projections. I'm not necessarily telling you to start these guys. Remember, 6 teams on a bye this week, tied for the most of any week during fantasy football. But be aware, these could be some potential points in your lineup. I've developed this theory, and it's worked for me in fantasy football. If there's a quarterback out there whose job's on the line and they're getting close to a bye week, roll with that quarterback because they put up some good numbers because they don't care. Hey, I might lose my job anyways. Might as well let the ball sling a little bit and call a lot of passing plays
on him.
So for that reason, I like to play this week of San Francisco 49er quarterback C.J. Beathard, the rookie from Iowa.
Even Goz is laughing. Yeah, that one Goz. You know what no one's ever said? I like the play of C.J. Beathard.
Well, hang on a second. It's worked 3 times for me this season. Case Keenum beat his projections. Blake Bortles beat his projections. Josh McCown beat his projections, all when people questioned if they were the quarterback going forward for the rest of the season. So give me C.J. Beathard, and I'll take it even farther for you. The Arizona Cardinal defense, we know they got some ball hawkers out there. Honey Badger, Peterson, and others who have played and made potential game-changing interceptions. The Cardinals this season have allowed the 3rd most fantasy football points to quarterbacks this season. All I need is 12.4 points, 234 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And that's not even the lowest projection for quarterbacks this week. He's probably closer around like the 20-ish range. C.J. Beathard, 12.4. I like his matchup against a Cardinal defense who gives up a lot of points to quarterbacks in fantasy football.
C.J. Beathard isn't a quarterback. Marcus Mariota. Now there's a quarterback. I lovingly have stolen the nickname of Flying Hawaiian, and I've given it to Marcus. It's his now. The Flying Hawaiian will lead his Tennessee Titans. He's not banged up that much anymore, but the Ravens still are. Joe Flacco coming off a week where he got a concussion and was taken out of the game. If it's Ryan Mallett versus Marcus Mariota, I feel real good about the Titans. As far as poor Flacco goes, even when he is out there, he's got a retread in Jeremy Maclin to throw to, a crazy person in Mike Wallace. It's just not a good time to be a Baltimore Raven, even though you're coming off a 40-0 victory over the Miami Dolphins. That kind of win, you kind of expect a little bit of a letdown afterwards. The Titans, again, I'm not scared of your hook. You'll take your hook and you do whatever you want with it, because I'm going to take the 3.5. I'm going to lay it. Laying 3.5 with the Titans over the Ravens.
A double 3.5. Wow, all right.
I'm not scared of your half points.
This might be a fantasy versus reality first double 3.5. All right, I'm going to go to the running back position. As good as I've been with quarterbacks beating projections when it comes to PPR scoring in fantasy versus reality, yeah, the running back position hasn't been as good for me. Sometimes you try to find guys who are going to get reception out of the backfield. Other times you try to find a running back who's going to get enough carries to get you over projections. So this week I'm going with a top 8 ranked running back, but he's got a big number. And I'm going with the running back for the Houston Texans, Lamar Miller. We know Deshaun Watson goes down with an injury. Tom Savage is going to be the quarterback. Maybe it's time for Savage to come out and have a big game. But Savage told the media, quote, "It's impossible to replace Deshaun Watson." Not a lot of confidence in yourself. So Lamar Miller. Take Lamar Miller. There it is. 16.5. 8th highest projection to run running backs this week. I need about 76 yards, 2 catches and 25 yards, and a touchdown. It's a lot. But
that's a lot.
You give me Lamar Miller in this matchup against the Colts. The Colts this season, also like the Cardinals, they gave up the 3rd most to quarterbacks. The Colts have given up the 3rd most fantasy football points to running backs this season. And Lamar Miller last year against the Colts, how about combining those 2 matchups? 45 carries, 256 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Give me about half of that. He beats his projection, which is high, of 16.5 fantasy football points. Give me Lamar Miller this week against the Colts.
I do like Lamar Miller, but that's because he's on my team and I need him now. Monday Night Football, the frozen tundra. Yes, it's going to be bold and cold, even though it's not that cold yet. The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. The Green Bay Packers host the Detroit Lions. I have been a Lions supporter most of this season, but I am wavering. Dare I say I am flipping the script. I think Green Bay's defense will play well. I think Green Bay's running game will be solid. I think it's going to be a coming out party for Brett Hundley. And by that I mean he won't screw up everything else I just talked about. Brett Hundley's going to have a good game. Green Bay's going to win this one at home, plus 2.5 points. Green Bay over Detroit. Hundley shows that he can keep this team alive long enough to get Aaron Rodgers back.
Then how about let's give some love to a former Levack Goz guest on Radio Row, sitting by himself, doing his own thing. You told me, hey, go interview that running back.
Late for junior high.
He did. Go interview that running back. I think he's from UTEP. Oh, he was from UTEP. His name was Aaron Jones, and he's having a fantastic
Aaron.
We're rooting for Aaron here on the show, so I'm hoping Aaron Jones and his Packers continue to play well because we like a little Levack Goz flavor to help out in the NFL. I like the pick there. I think my favorite of your 3 so far is that Packer went over the Lions. Here's my final spot here. Wide receiver / tight end. One of these positions I take every week. And this week I'm going with the wide receiver. This was tough, though. I couldn't decide which one to take on this roster. Should I take the one who's going to get touches, the one who might emerge, the one we don't know about? I'm going to go with the number 1 wide receiver now. It looks to be in Carolina. The Panthers trade away Calvin Benjamin. That means a lot of targets and hopefully a lot of catches for their wide receiver, Devin Funchess. Funchess, the former Michigan star, all he needs is 5 catches and 60 yards. That's right, a low projection this week for Devin Funchess. 10.9 fantasy projection for Devin Funchess. We've heard Cam Newton talk about him in press conferences before. He has a good relationship with Funchess. The same can't be said for the other guys. Ed Dixon's in there because Greg Olson's hurt. Curtis Samuel and Russell Shepard basically never get any targets during games. I don't want Shepard. I don't want Samuel. I don't want Dixon because all of their projections are lower. Give me the 10.9 with Devin Funchess. The matchup against the Falcons, they're about borderline. 14th least amount of fantasy football points given up to wide receivers. But give me 10.9. All I need is 5 catches and 60 yards. Give me Devin Funchess as a play this week at the wide receiver position.
Back when that big receiver was at Michigan, they used to say Devin Funchess catches touchdowns in bunches.
Ooh!
It was a thing. I remember it boldly. All right, so my recap real quick for you for fantasy versus reality. I'm taking 2 favorites. I am going to take the Rams on the road plus they're laying 3.5 against the Giants. I'm taking the Titans also on the road. I'm laying 3.5. I'm not scared. And then I am taking a home dog. Monday Night Football, give me the Green Bay Packers plus 2.5 over the Lions.
And here are the players I'm taking into fantasy football to play to beat the projected scoring projections on ESPN in PPR leagues. Quarterback position. Give me C.J. Beathard, the quarterback for the 49ers. If you're struggling for a bye week, he's worth a long shot. A stream play here. Play Beathard, as it's only him or Garoppolo, and Garoppolo doesn't know the offense yet. Running back position, Lamar Miller, running back for the Houston Texans. They get a matchup against a Colts defense who's allowed the third most fantasy points to running backs this season. No Deshaun Watson. The offense has got to come somewhere. Play Lamar Miller. And wide receiver, Calvin Benjamin's gone. Cam Newton has a great relationship. He's going to be looking for Devin Funchess. Take Funchess against the Atlanta Falcons with a projection of 10.9. All he needs 5 catches and 60 yards.
That's fantasy versus reality. We hope that you are very you use the information wisely. You probably don't listen to Goz.
I got a better record than you.
Yeah, by half a point. Get out of here. No, in all seriousness, good luck, everybody. We hope, of course, if you do go to Vegas, bet with your head over. Bet with your head, not over it. I can't talk. I'm excited because there's craft beer in my future and field.
Hello.
Bet with your head, not over it. If you do go to Vegas, hello. You talk to win the game. And also, if you use Goz's advice, remember, if you bench a quarterback for C.J. Beathard, you have no one to blame but yourself.
I'm starting him in the Death Wish League.
Are you really?
I cut.
Well, yeah, but everybody's on bye in your team, though.
All right, whatever. I cut Blake Bortles this morning. You ready, John Swedish, to feel the wrath of C.J. Beathard? That's called trash talk. I can't wait till Beathard goes on for 40 points this week.
Our friends at Mohawk Army Navy, they get the largest selection of boots in the capital region with over 32 years of experience, and with stores in Niskayuna, Latham, and Saratoga. They're also the proud sponsors of Field Yates, who joins us next.